Dear Qur'anist, Assalamu alaikum. So if you know what a Qur'anist is, that is someone who doesn't believe in the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, which are reported, and the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, or sunnah or the actions that he did, and the hadith are the sayings of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So Qur'anist is someone who only reads the Qur'an, right? And they only listen to what the Qur'an says. So let me ask you a question. How do you pray? Because the Qur'an doesn't give you specifics on prayer. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was the one who told us the specifics of the prayer. Because the Qur'an only says about, pray and pray and give zakat, charity, and atu zakat. So there are a lot. The Qur'an is basically a template, so to speak. And the very minute specifics are from that we know are from the Prophet, peace be upon him, his sayings and his sunnah, his doings. So let me ask you another question. Where do you think the Quran came from? The Quran wasn't originally a book. The Quran was sent to the Prophet, peace be upon him, verbally. So if you're not listening to the hadith and the sunnah, the Prophet also did not write the book, the Quran. The Quran was written later, but because the Prophet, peace be upon him, could not read or write, which is another one of his miracles. So it was not even written by him. So if you're not trusting the people who transmitted the Quran to become what is the little book we have today, I would go get one, but I don't want to leave you guys. It's a little book today, but it used to be super huge, right? Because we didn't have printing press and papers, and thin papers. But if you are rejecting the Sunnah and Hadith, the sayings and the doings of the Prophet, peace be upon him, then the Quran was also something that was said by the Prophet, peace be upon him, and transmitted eventually into print. So they come from the same source, is what I'm saying. All the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, were the ones who very smartly, I'd say, very intelligent, that they properly transmitted all of these things, and they made sure that they were put forward in time, so that almost 1,500 years later, we can now read the Quran, we can read the Hadith, we can read the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So you can't say that the sources are it's a different source. It's the same source. So there is no real argument here. You're just kind of grasping at straws here. Like, I might say that I don't have a good example here. I might say that the sun is being controlled by someone inside of it, keeping it at the earth is being controlled by someone in the middle of it, making it rotate around the earth, around the sun. I can't go check that, and you can't go check that. So you're kind of what I'm trying to say is you're grasping at straws here. You see something and you try to make conclusions without a scientific approach, without a scientific approach. The Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, were very, so they spent a lot of time only getting, so they have, there's a science in Islam called the science of the chain of, how do you say in English? Basically the chain of going from one person to the other. And isnad. The science. And so Muslims have been doing this. Bukhari is one of the biggest one who did it, mashallah, subhanallah. He was very gifted by Allah, by God, to do a very great service to the Muslim ummah. Because he only took, so there are thousands of hadith, right? There are thousands of sayings of the Prophet. Many of them were by liars. So Bukhari would go around. He traveled around the Muslim world, looking for. So he would check the person out. Right? Is this person a liar? Okay, I'm not going to take his saying, his hadith. Is this person a deceitful man? Is he forgetful even? I'm not going to take. So he made sure that only the most authentic, only the most trustworthy sayings got into his book. So if you trust the Qur'an's the line, the Qur'an, which came from the Sahaba, then you should also trust the authentic hadith and authentic sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that came from that same line, essentially. So that's all I have for now. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Please keep me in your dua.